It says I'm live. This is it. There's no turning back, kids.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we all okay? You can see my fan, but I don't care. That's fine. Hi. If you are joining me live, if you've clicked on this, this is the live stream. This is a terrible intro. Hi. Hi, I'm Michelle, and welcome to Unicorn Centaur, my YouTube channel for extra equestrians. If you have clicked on this and it's not live, then you need to know this is not an edited video. We've got a live chat that's going to be happening, and it may, I don't know, that's what you're in for. This was live, and you're seeing me in the future. Hi. Nate Dog. Hey, how you doing? So this is kind of the intro. Hi. This is the end of the month live stream. I do a live stream. Jen is here and Trish is here. Hey, I do a live. If you're new, I do a live stream the last Sunday of every month, and today is that day. I hope everybody had a great Christmas, whether or not you celebrate. I hope you had a great day yesterday, whether or not you have a Christmas tree or celebrate or whatever. So I had a great Christmas. We went out for Chinese food. My husband, Scott, is Jewish, and apparently every Christmas of his childhood, they went out for Chinese food. So we've continued the tradition. I don't cook on Christmas. We go out for Chinese food every year. So yesterday I had a ton of Chinese food, and I was very happy about that. So I hope you had a great Christmas feast, whether it was, again, whether it was Christmas for you or not, whether you celebrate or not. All right, who else is in the chat here today? Sheila's here, hey. And Kristen, yay. Okay, hang on. Let me get to my own live stream so I can get to the chat. Before we get into today's live stream, hang on, I'm going to have to turn me down. Before we get into today's... I do want to say a special thank you to my Patreon people. I'm going to do this at the beginning of the live stream so I can say thank you. They are the people who make it possible for me to have my own horses, which was my childhood dream, and it is now realized, and you people are helping me realize it. My top tier patrons, my unicorn patrons, Bonnie G, Sheila, who is in the chat, Suzanne L, and Annalise J. My centaur patrons, my mid tier, are Rebecca and Evie, Sophie M, Bill S, and Rog Cast. And my fairies, my $1 tier, are Neil C and Lila C. If you want your name in the credits of my videos, if you want your name shouted out in the live streams, if you want extra content, I make extra videos for my patrons every month, behind the scenes stuff, outtakes and things like that. There is a link in the description box below to sign up for my Patreon. Every single dollar of my Patreon goes directly to my horses. Just FYI. So let me get into, Caleb and I got Chinese as well. Nice. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Yes, I hope we have the best year ever. So that was my intro. Y'all know I got to do notes. I'm old school with notes. I don't do notes on my phone. I'm Gen X. I do notes with a pencil on a piece of paper. So I made my outline today so I could make sure that I got to everything I wanted to get to. First of all, today's topic is me. Hi. I wanted to discuss the elephant in the room, so to speak. In the last year, or actually like 13 months, I have lost 93 pounds. I have lost a lot of weight. I have gone from like a size 18 to a size 6. And a lot of you have commented on Instagram, on Facebook. A lot of you have sent me messages. Some of you asking if I'm okay. Yes, I'm okay. We're going to talk about it. So I wanted to address it because first of all, weight loss tends to be important to equestrians. There is a saying, which I hate in the equestrian world, that you're never too thin to ride a horse. I hate this expression. You can't say you're never too thin to ride a horse and then say more leg and in the exact same breath. I'm sorry, you just can't. So there is a myth among equestrians that the thinner you are, the better the rider you are. And there are a lot of overweight equestrians who really get down on themselves and really hate themselves and really they really obsess about this. And so I felt like it was an appropriate topic, especially with the new year coming. A lot of people make weight loss resolutions in the new year. And so I thought maybe I would address what happened to me and how I did this. And hopefully that will, what I went through, or what I've done, the work I've done will help somebody one way or another. Hey, Hannah, proud of you. Thank you. I do want to do a disclaimer. First of all, I am not a licensed healthcare professional of any kind. I am not a doctor. I'm not a registered dietitian. I'm not qualified to give health advice to anyone. That this live stream is not about telling you how to lose weight. This live stream is about telling you how I did it and the things I did for myself. That's pretty much it. Also, trigger warnings. We will be touching on mental illnesses because I deal with several mental illnesses and eating disorders. We will touch a little bit on disordered eating. So if you struggle with disordered eating, if you have an eating disorder and you feel like this conversation may trigger you, it is okay to back out of this live stream right now. That's fine. Catch me on the next one. If you are if you have mental health issues that you're struggling with dealing with and you feel like you're going to be triggered by this conversation, again, back right on out. It's okay. I love you. Thank you for joining us. And I'll catch you on the next one. Oh, one more disclaimer. If you are a minor, if you are under 18 years old, I am not qualified to help you. And this live stream, honestly, any advice in this live stream is not for you. Your body and your mind are still developing and growing, and you require a different approach, so to speak. So I don't want any teenagers watching this or any young people who are watching this to be like, oh, I have to lose weight. No, you don't. If you are a young person and you are feeling that way, you need to go talk to a trusted adult, either a parent, a guardian, a favorite teacher, a counselor, someone who you can take this issue to. That's not me, because I don't know you. And I am not, you are beyond my scope of practice. This is not something that I can help you with. I wish I could, but it's not something that I can help you with. So, God, having said all that, every body is different. Yes, Sheila, and everybody is a good body, right? But also, no body shaming here in these comments. This is not about telling people they have to lose weight, because you do not. You simply do not. Your body is good just as it is right now. You know, your body is doing its best. When I still weighed 93 pounds more than I do right now, my body was great. My body was doing its best. And that body is the one that took me on this journey. That body gets all the credit. That body was amazing and strong and beautiful and wonderful. And there is no hate on anybody for any size that they are at any point in wherever they are in their lives. This is not about making you feel like you have to lose weight. Again, this is just sharing what I did. I hope that helps. I hope that helps. Let me see. So trigger warnings. I want to make sure I got my trigger warnings out of the way. I don't want anyone triggered by this conversation. My disclaimers. Oh, also, one more disclaimer. If you are disabled in any way or have any other kind of health issues like PCOS or diabetes, if you have health issues that may prevent you from losing weight easily, this conversation, like, you need to see a doctor before you listen to a YouTube live stream and be like, oh, I need to do what she did. They're equating weight loss with health is an ableist myth. No one achieves perfect health. I do not have perfect health right now. Like I said, y'all know I deal with a whole list of mental illnesses, and we're going to talk about the eating disorder that I deal with a little bit today. So, but there are health conditions that may make this more difficult for you, and you may need more help. You may need help from a registered dietitian. You may need help from your doctor or a nurse or some other healthcare practitioner. And weight loss may not even be a goal for you. That's okay. I just wanted to put that out there as well as another disclaimer. All right, hang on, let me check in with the chat. Oh, Nate Dogg, I have to go to a family gathering. Oh, have a great time. Okay. So first of all, the technicalities of how I lost weight is, it's just math. I kept a food diary. I use the app Myfitnesspal. By the way, I am green. Let me write it down here in the comments. If anyone is on Myfitnesspal or decides to use that, let me put my username so you can find me and add me as a friend. There, Green Goddess 0123. That is me. I've been on Myfitnesspal since I think 2013 or 2014, something like that. And I should go to my chart. I should go to my chart and show you guys like my weight since I started on Myfitnesspal. Like success is not linear. Like I didn't just wake up one day and decide, oh, I'm going to lose weight. And then I just started losing pounds and it happened. That's not how it went at all. So let me go to my progress on Myfitnesspal. And I want to show you guys. Okay. So can we see this? There we go. That is the chart of my weight loss from the very beginning. When I started, I weighed 250 pounds back when I started, but you can see where I lost weight. And then around here is where I had a couple of knee injuries, and then the weight crept up, and I kept like logging in and trying again over the years. I went down a little more, then back up until all the way back up last year around Thanksgiving time. And then you can see how I've had pretty good success this past year. So that is what that's about. But I don't want y'all thinking, oh, she just decided to do it one day and it was easy. But pretty much it's about the math. With data entry, with very meticulous data entry, I love data entry. I love data. And this may not be for you. But I weigh and measure everything that I eat and I log it in my food log. I also log all of the exercise that I do. And so using the app, it helps me do the math to make sure that I am burning off more calories than I consume. That is pretty much what weight loss is. If you are burning off more fuel than you're taking in, you're going to lose weight. If you're taking in more fuel than you're burning off, you're going to gain weight. I understand that there's nuance to it and there's more to it than that. I get that. Some people have faster or slower metabolisms. Some people have health conditions that make it more difficult. Some people have mental illnesses that make it more difficult, or mental difficulties that make it more difficult. But that's the basics. It sounds easy. It's not. It sounds easy though. But that's how I did it. I did it by doing the math. Lots and lots of data entry every single day. Now, here's where we touch on like a little bit of eating disorder. I feel like if you tend toward anorexic behaviors or orthorexic behaviors, the constant data entry in the method that I used may be triggering for you. It may trigger obsessive behaviors because I weigh myself every single morning. I log every single thing that I put in my mouth. Well, not every single thing I put in my mouth. Sometimes I go in. One of my really bad habits that I've had to overcome in the last year is the urge to eat something every time I go in the kitchen. A little handful of shredded cheese, a couple of raisins, a couple of chips, just something to grab something to eat every single time I go in the kitchen. So I still occasionally will be like, I'm going to have 3 pretzels. And so there may be a couple things that don't get logged, but I do keep a fairly tight food log. And if you are friends with me on Myfitnesspal, you get to see what I eat every day. Because my diary is open to friends. But that is pretty much it. And my workouts. So you'll see today, I did step aerobics this morning, and I did my strength training circuit, and I stretched for 5 minutes. And then I went to the barn and I rode my horses. So 30-minute workout on RTAX, and then Sunny and I did a 1-hour trail ride. So you can see all that on my exercise log. Oh my God, excuse me. Oh my gosh, wait. Speaking of burping, we need more burping in this live stream. My Diet Dr. Pepper. Also my coaster that my sister got me for Christmas. It's a cat with its little butthole. How cute is that? I love my butthole kitty. Okay. Scott's over there laughing at me. Okay, yes. And Sheila, it is never easy It's also not fast. I need y'all to know that I didn't just start a year ago. This whole thing began almost 2 years ago, about a year and a half. It's almost 2 years now. In the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, and I've discussed this in another live stream where we talked about self care. I was on medication for depression and anxiety. I was pre-diabetic. My sugars were very high. My doctor was concerned. And at my next appointment, if they were still that high, I was going to be checked for diabetes. I was vitamin D deficient. I have to be on hormones to control my cycle because if I stress out too much, TMI, start bleeding and I don't stop. So I have to be on hormones to control that. My eating habits were terrible, absolutely terrible. My sleep habits were absolutely terrible. My health was not in a good place in the spring of 2020. And when the pandemic happened and everybody was like on lockdown, I was like, well, this is it. That was when I made the decision the medication wasn't working. So let me see how well I can get myself without medication. Let me see what kind of care I can give to myself. How can I take care of myself? And at this point, weight loss wasn't even in the picture. Didn't care about it. Wasn't a goal. Not even close. Nowhere on the radar. None. My first thing I did was to get a good night's sleep. I made a sleep schedule for myself where I woke up at the same time every single day. And then I would go to bed within a certain range, but I made sure I got at least 8 hours of sleep every night. And this was from someone who I was drinking Diet Dr. Peppers until like 3 o'clock in the morning and then going to bed for a couple hours and then getting up and like being cranky and tired and napping here and there all day. My sleep schedule was in the toilet. So I regulated that. That was the first thing I did. And immediately my anxiety levels went down. Oh, by the way, I was crying every single day. Several times a day. Scott can attest to this. I was having panic attacks, like serious pulse panic attacks with the breathing and the crying every single day. This reduced as soon as I started getting a good night's sleep. I started going for a walk every morning. Again, this wasn't to work out. This was simply to get my body moving. So the first thing I did when I got up was to go for a walk. I set a 15-minute timer on my phone and I went out walking. At first I was still in my jammies, didn't even put on a bra, just like put on a hoodie, put my shoes on, went out and walked for 15 minutes. And when the timer went off, I turned around and came back home. Not walking fast, just walking. And that was just to get some exercise and to build that habit of getting up and exercising. I also decided to go outside for 15 minutes every day and get sunshine on my face and arms for that vitamin D deficiency. So sleep, exercise first thing in the morning, gentle, slow exercise first thing in the morning, and that vitamin D. And my hormone pill I had to take. So these were the first things I did before weight loss was even on the table. And I did this for a couple of months. This is what I did. I had to build back my health. I stopped crying every day. I was still crying a lot, but I stopped crying every day. And I stopped having horrifying panic attacks every single day. And it gave me some space to breathe and some space to think about things. Hang on, let me check in with the chat real quick. It's amazing what 8 hours of sleep can do for you. Yeah. That's why I tell people, like, when they're wanting to lose weight, like, the first thing, get some sleep. Get some sleep first. And I know it's hard. Some people have 3 jobs and take care of multiple family members and have lots of animals that require their attention and care. I understand how privileged I am to have been able to make space in my life for these self-care practices. And when I say self-care, I'm not talking about treating yourself. I'm not talking about buying a new outfit or going to get your nails done or having a donut or a cookie because you deserve it. Self-care is not treating yourself. Self-care is actually taking care of yourself, like what you would do for another person. That's what I decided to treat myself as. If I came to me with these problems, what would I tell myself? If one of my friends came to me with these problems, what advice would I give them? What would I tell them? How would I get them to sort out these issues in their life? So my depression and anxiety reduced almost immediately with getting a good night's sleep, getting some vitamin D, and getting a little bit of very moderate exercise, very light exercise. So after a couple of months of this, I started deciding, again, not weight loss. I started to decide that I needed a better diet. Um, because one of the things that I would do is like I binged on junk food, like a lot. Y'all know I can eat a box of Little Debbie honey buns in under 20 minutes. I'm not proud of this, but I can. I would tell myself things that I knew were lies. I would buy boxes of junk food and tell myself I would have one and then bring the rest home so the whole family could have it. The box wouldn't even make it home. And then, of course, I would sugar crash, take an angry nap, and then wake up starving in an hour or two and need some more food. And so I would have more junk food. I would have a whole bag of chips. I would have multiple meals. Like I can eat a whole meal and then go back for more. Oh, I guess we should address this. I do have an eating disorder. I have binge eating disorder. I am never done eating. Never. I had somebody ask me when they were talking about weight loss, because I'll get into this. I time out my meals now. That's one of the ways I got over this. And she's like, well, what happens if your food alarm goes off and don't feel like eating? And I was like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand this concept of not wanting to eat. I'm always ready to eat. The only reason, if I have eaten if you know me personally, like Sheila or anybody else in the chat, if I have eaten in front of you in public and I stopped eating, it's only because I didn't want you to think I was sick and crazy. I would have kept on eating if I was by myself. Oh, the free chips and salsa at Mexican restaurants, and people are like, oh, you're going to ruin your appetite. I'm going to eat chips and salsa until I explode, and then I'm going to eat the entire meal they just brought out to me. I never bring home a doggy bag. I finish it all. It all gets eaten. Or if I do, I'm like, oh, I'm going to bring this home for later. This will be my lunch tomorrow. No, it's not. I'm going to eat it when I get home. Binge eating disorder is, oof, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. I need to drink on that. Okay. So I started eating more healthful foods. And one of the things that I decided to do, I don't remember how far into the process I was. I started wanting to, here's how it worked out. I started wanting to work out more. I started wanting to exercise more. I felt so good that my 30-minute walks turned into 40-minute walks and turned into 45-minute walks and then 50-minute walks until I was walking for an hour. And I would get up and I would actually put on a sports bra and I actually felt like going for a walk and like getting my heart rate up a little bit. And so I started looking up other workouts to do on YouTube to vary it up a little bit. And I started working out and I decided I wanted to start running again because I love running. I love running so much. I love working out and exercising and running almost as much as I love eating. I wish I could do that all the time, but you get to a point where you're like, okay, I can't do anymore. I can't binge exercise, unfortunately. So I tried to run again, but I was like 240 pounds. And when I first started running, I weighed 250 pounds, but I was like 41 years old and I had never had a knee injury. So I could sort of get away with it. At this point, I was like 240 pounds. I was 48 years old and I had had some significant knee injuries in those past few years. So my knees kept telling me, honey, no, you can't do this again. You can't just start it up like you did before. I kept trying to run and I kept injuring myself and having to go back to just walking, which was very frustrating. And so I finally realized like, oh, I'm going to have to lose weight again. If I want to achieve greater exercise goals, I'm going to have to take some of this weight off my knees. And at that point, my goal was not to do this, was not to be, like I went from 238 pounds to now I'm at 145 at 5'7". That was not my plan originally. I just wanted to get some weight off my knees. So I went back to Myfitnesspal. And one of the things that I did, I know how to eat healthy. I'm not new. Okay. I just needed a way to control what I was eating. And again, there are certain eating disorders that I think the method that I used may trigger this. So this method may not be for everyone. But one of the things that really worked for me is that, oh, Becca's here. Hey. I know the frustration of wanting to run so much and not being able to. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I love it so much. So one of the things I did was, I started to time my meals. That way I couldn't do the thing where I would eat an entire box of Little Debbie honey buns and then take a 2-hour nap and then wake up and eat some more food and then like get into a project or something and not eat for a couple of hours and then consume 2,000 calories all at once. Like, honestly, I was all over the map. So I timed it out. And right now my food alarms are, I eat at 9 a.m., noon, 3 p.m., 6 p.m., and 9 p.m. is my final snack. And I eat anywhere from like the half hour before, anywhere in the half hour before that alarm goes off. So, and I have coffee before the 9 o'clock. So I wake up in the morning and I do my workout and I have some coffee. And then about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I make myself some breakfast and I have my breakfast. And at first I wasn't really like reducing a lot of calories and worrying about that. I just timed out my meals. And this was another thing that really helped my anxiety and my depression, the way I can get to sleep at night. My need for naps in the middle of the day decreased dramatically after this, but timing out my meals sort of regulated my blood sugar. It also helped regulate my moods. I was not as, this is embarrassing. I have an anger problem. Shh. Don't say anything. I'm talking to Scott over here. Shh. I have a problem getting angry. I have a problem regulating my emotions. I've talked to my therapist about this. I've talked to my psychiatrist about this. But one of the things that really helped me regulate my anger and my negative emotions was regulating my blood sugar. Turns out I was hangry. Turns out I was not fueling myself properly. And so I was getting really angry. And that really helped my moods a lot, my mood stabilization when I timed out my meals. So yeah, even though like I'll be done eating and I still want to eat more, now I can tell myself, no, girl, you're done. You have to wait. It's only going to be like 2.5 hours until you get another meal. Look forward to that next meal. Go find something to do. And this is where I will go and do other things. I will do chores. I will go to the barn. I will, work on YouTube stuff. I will do other things in my life until it's time for that next meal. But it's hard because with binge eating disorder, I can finish an entire meal and be full and feel full in my stomach. It'll be like 400 something calories worth of food. I know I have enough fuel. It's plenty of protein. It's plenty of carbs. It's plenty of fats. I put it all in there myself. I know it. My stomach hurts because it's so much food, but I'll still have a very strong urge to go into the kitchen and make myself a second bowl of pasta. And I used to do that. There have been plenty of times where I would do that, but now I have to be stronger than that urge. I have to tell myself, no, no, honey, no, don't do that. You've already had that meal. It was good. And that's like the saddest part of my day. I get so sad when I'm done eating. Still, I just want y'all to know that like nothing is fixed just because I've lost weight. I still struggle. Like every single day, I struggle every time I'm done with a meal. Oh, hey, Shantae Roseboro. And hang on, let me get back into the chat here. Never thought about timing my meals and snacks. Yeah. And if that's something that helps you, honestly, it helped me a lot to do that. And the timing is, yeah. But then using Myfitnesspal, the app, which is free, by the way, I use that to, I fill out my diary sometimes the day before, but sometimes the day of, and I fill out everything I'm going to eat. Partly because I get excited. Sounds so funny. It sounds so lame. Eating disorders are weird, y'all. I get so excited looking at the app and looking at my food diary and thinking about the food I'm going to eat that day. It sounds so dumb, but like I get on this app and I will look. I've looked at dinner probably 5 times already today. Like looking at, I'm going to have a salad And I've looked at like all the ingredients I'm going to put in my salad, and I look at the calorie count and I'm like, okay, this is fine. But it adds up, the app adds up all the calories for you. So you can look at your totals for the day, and then I can make adjustments because sometimes things happen. Sometimes I run out of a food and then I can put something else on my food diary for the day. Or once I've filled everything in, it's less than I thought. So I can add a treat of some kind somewhere else in the day. Or sometimes it's more than I thought. I'm like, oh, where can I cut some things out here so that I stay within my goals for this day? So I really work on my food diary every single day. And for some people that may sound exhausting. And for you, it may be. That kind of data entry and that kind of dedication to the food diary may not be for you. And that's okay. There's more than one way to do things. This is just what worked for me. So I check in with Myfitnesspal multiple times a day. I'll check in. I also will check in just to make sure I've eaten everything from that last meal. Like once I'm done with a meal and I'm feeling really sad and let down, I'll get on Myfitnesspal and be like, yeah, I ate that. Yeah, I ate that. Yeah, oh, I've eaten everything. I did it. It happened. Okay. Now I have to wait till the next one. And it's the worst. I hate it. But then I get to that next meal. But then I have to look and see like, okay, but the next meal, the next one, okay, it's good. And I still do treats. Like I'm not depriving myself of things. I eat pizza. I eat pasta. I have nachos. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, but I also eat a lot of like whatever. And I do have treats. Like every once in a while, I will crave Krispy Kreme donuts, and that will be my 3 o'clock afternoon snack. And I will have 2 Krispy Kreme donuts, which is like nearly 400 calories. But then I plan the rest of the day around that to make sure that I don't go over my limit. And I've got like everything works out. So then I have that assurance all day long that that's not going to blow the program. It's not going to send me into a spiral or anything. And I also get to look forward to donuts at 3 o'clock. And all day long, I'll be checking in with the app and be like, yep, there's still going to be donuts at 3 o'clock. Yes. Y'all, this all sounds so ridiculous. I hope it resonates with at least one person and I'm not just putting myself out here online. And all of y'all are like, this girl is crazy. The glory of Krispy Kreme. For real. The biggest benefit to food journaling is awareness of what we consume. Yes. And there is no shame in taking pleasure in food. Yes, 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 yes. And I do. I absolutely do take pleasure in food. I don't eat. If I eat diet or low calorie food, it's only so that I can eat more. Because I do like eating a lot of food. I like consuming a lot of food. And actually, like, let's go back a little bit, like to when I first started. When I first decided that I was going to go on a diet and I was going to like lose weight again, I planned out the first 2 weeks. Like I planned it out so that I wouldn't have to think about it and it wouldn't stress me out. And I had just about the same thing every single day. I made myself oatmeal. I planned out what kind of oatmeal I was going to have. So I had oatmeal for breakfast. I had a salad for lunch. I had a protein bar and what else? And a square of dark chocolate for my afternoon snack. I had, for my evening snack, I had a Greek yogurt, which I still do that. And for dinner, I would have like those lean cuisine, Weight Watcher frozen meals. And I did that so I didn't have to go into the kitchen and make food. Because I knew that would trigger me. I knew if I made a huge pot of pasta, I would just be eating noodles while I was like, fixing my plate. I would put extra things on stuff. I would cheat, so to speak. I would go over. So I did things where everything was already portion controlled and I didn't have to prepare or think about the food. It was food that was like already made pretty much. And so for the first 2 weeks, I pretended I was at a spa, like a health spa, and the food was made for me. And that's the food they brought to me. And it was like, I had to eat what they gave me. They was me. But that was kind of what I pretended. And I took my focus off of food for those 2 weeks. And I really brought it inward to focus on my self-care practices and to make sure I was getting that sleep. And I would go to bed early some nights, mostly because I was mad I couldn't eat any more food, but I would go to bed so that I would stay in the kitchen. Sometimes I went to bed at 8:30, y'all. Don't make fun of me. You shush over there. Um, so I would focus on those self-care practice. I took a lot of hot baths. I did a lot of reading. I napped. Like I would lay down in the middle of the day. I went to see my horses. Um, I just did a lot in those first 2 weeks so that I didn't have to think about it. And I had those meals planned out and the numbers dropped. And so after the first 2 weeks, it sort of got me in a habit of eating the small meals whenever, or smaller than I'm used to, smaller than I want to eat, every 3 hours. And it really got me into that habit because one of the things with me is like building habits, and it takes weeks to build habits. You can't just start a new habit and be like, well, I'm here now. No, your body, your brain still want to do the old habits. You're stuck in those. You have muscle memory of the things that you do. Like my muscle memory of going into the kitchen and putting something into my mouth every single time I go into the kitchen. That's muscle memory. That's part of it. So I have to like train myself not to do that. And that's what those first 2 weeks were about. And after those first 2 weeks were up, I started slowly expanding on everything. I started changing it up a little bit. I felt more confident. And at the beginning, Scott can attest to this. Like after dinner, I would stay out of the kitchen, like all of the evening chores, the dishes after, like I would do dishes during the day and clean things after the day, during the day. But after dinner, I had to stay out of the kitchen, or I would go into the refrigerator and into the cabinets and find something else to eat. I knew I was going to do this. And every time I snuck in there for something, I would even have Scott go get me some more water if I needed something to drink. Will you please make me something to drink? Will you go into the kitchen and get this thing for me? And the kitchen was off limits after dinner, after I was done with that 6 p.m. meal. I would even have him sometimes get my evening snack. Because it was just too triggering to go into the kitchen. And I had to train myself away from that, away from those evening habits that I had of just snacking more and more. Because with binge eating disorder, a lot of times once I started overeating, I would be like, well, this day's blown. And then I would eat and eat and eat. Like at night, I'd be like, well, I guess I'm not losing weight today. And I would finish the whole bag of chips and I would go back in for something else. And I would make myself a sandwich and I'd be like, oh, why don't I have a bagel? Y'all, I would eat dinner and then have a snack and a whole bag of chips and then have a bagel at like 9, 10 o'clock at night. Like that's a lot of food. Okay. So kudos to Scott for supporting you on this journey. For real, y'all, I don't know if I could have done this if I didn't have this kind of support network. Just so you know, my husband and my son have been on board 100%. They have both helped me when I needed help saying no, when I needed help staying out of the kitchen, when I needed help getting up and getting moving, when I needed help with a particular kind of food. I would bring home certain foods and be like, okay, this is my diet food. I've planned to have this all week long. This is off limits to you guys. And sometimes like they would like the diet food. So like, okay, so the next time I go to the grocery store, I'm going to get 2 boxes of this, one for me and one for you guys, so we would work things out. But the support that I have had at home has been absolutely incredible. Cannot speak highly enough of my husband and my son during all of this. We love you. Oh, thank you, Shantae. Krispy Kreme rocks. It really, really does. And I still do that. Like for holidays, like yesterday, I knew we were going for Chinese food and I knew I was going to eat more than 300 to 400 calories of Chinese food. So I made sure that I logged myself a very light breakfast. I had less food than I normally have for breakfast. I logged myself a very light. All my other meals were lighter than they normally are, which, required some adjustment. I was sad after my low-calorie dinner salad. I was sad, I admit it, but I tried to remember how good it felt eating. I ate a lot of Chinese food yesterday. I ate like 850 calories of food for lunch yesterday. Which is a lot. My stomach was hurting after we were done. I was like, can I just enjoy this? So yeah, that was like the bulk of calories for that day. And what time is it? 4:39. Let me make sure I'm getting to things. There has been a progression to everything I've done. My anxiety and my depression have gone down. At this point, I still have panic attacks, but only like once or twice a month instead of once or twice to 3 or 4 times a day. I do not cry every day anymore. There are things that used to make me have absolute total meltdowns that now when they happen, I just like take a deep breath and do it. Things like when the car runs out of gas, that may sound absolutely ridiculous to people who don't have anxiety, but when the car would be out of gas and I'd have to go get gas, I would almost cry. I would have a panic attack thinking about that. If the tire pressure light on the car comes on and I have to check the tires and put air in the tires, oh my God, panic and meltdown. And now I'm just like, ugh, dang it. I have to deal with this now. The level of me being mentally strong enough to handle normal everyday things has increased. And that's not necessarily because of weight loss. That's because I have been taking care of myself. I wanted to address the weight loss on the live stream and how I did it because it's the most obvious and dramatic of the changes that have happened to me in the last year and a half to almost 2 years. It's the one that's the most visible, the most noticeable to people. And so that's what people want to know about. But if you've been here for the whole live stream, or if not, you should probably go back and check out the beginning of the live stream because we talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about how I built the foundation for this. I honestly feel like that sleep schedule, getting sunshine, which now I take a multivitamin as well, especially when I started being on a serious calorie deficit, when I was not taking in a lot of calories every day. I made sure I took a multivitamin to make sure that I was getting all the nutrients my body needed every day. Staying hydrated is another thing. I drink a ton of water. I do not just drink Diet Dr. Pepper and coffee, although I do drink a lot of that stuff. But I drink a lot of water. I drink about 10 to 12 8-ounce glasses of water every single day. I stay super hydrated, girl. She stay hydrated. Another thing was for the self-care was to take my hormones at the same time every day. I'm on progesterone, which is a bit of a mild sedative. So I take it in the evening and that sort of helps my sleep schedule. So all of that, timing my meals to regulate my blood sugar, taking my hormones at the same time every day, staying hydrated, getting up at the same time every day after getting a good night's sleep, and exercising first thing in the morning. Again, not working out hard, but exercising first thing in the morning. All of these helped me reduce my mental and physical health problems enough so that I had the mental and physical strength to handle reducing my calories and increasing my workouts and losing weight. This is why I have not had success. Y'all, I've been trying to lose weight since the 1980s, okay? When I hit puberty is when I started gaining weight and people started making comments about it, and I internalized those comments. I hated myself and my body in the 1980s when I was a teenager. And the sad thing is, this is about the weight I was at the time, or like maybe 10 pounds heavier. And I hated myself. And I thought I was so fat and so ugly. And I wanted to diet all the time. And I did those like 3-day diets where you're supposed to lose 10 pounds in 3 days. And I tried every exercise regimen. Oh, do y'all know what calorie counting was like in the 80s and the 90s before the internet and apps? Like you had to go to a bookstore and buy a book that had the calorie counts and amounts of things in the book. And you had to get several of them. I remember at one point I had 4 different calorie counting books because it's not all in one book. You got to get one book that does the fast food and the restaurant counts, and one book that does common grocery store items, and one that just does things like fruits and vegetables. It was insane. I've been on every kind of diet you could possibly imagine. Have not done keto, but in the 90s it was Atkins diet, that was the high protein diet then. I've done the Susan Powter, Stop the Insanity, low fat diet. I've done fat free. I've done all sorts of crazy fad diets where you eliminate certain foods, or you do a 7-day thing where this day you eat only bananas and this day you go bananas. You name it, I've done it. I've been there, and I've lost weight on all of them. And then I gained it back. And then I lost weight on all of them and I gained it back. And it's because I had not built that self-care foundation. I was too busy hating myself. I was too busy thinking I was fat and ugly and horrible and punishing myself with this and thinking I deserve this punishment. And it wasn't until, are you okay over there?
Yeah, they had a bout.
Oh, the cat, Scott and the cats. But it wasn't until I started really taking care of me and loving me. Like at whatever, I decided to love myself no matter what weight I was at, no matter what weight I ended up as. Even now, if I gain weight back, I will love myself and not hate myself for it. I am taking care of myself, and building that foundation is how I got to the point where I could lose weight. It may not take you 6 months to a year of diligent self-care practices. If weight loss is a goal for you, if you're watching this live stream, or if you're watching this on the playback and weight loss is a goal for you, and you have failed and succeeded and failed dozens of times before, same. Me too. It's okay. You're okay. Your body is doing its best in every moment. That's all it can do. And I hope that you can find your path. The things that I've talked about today are the ways I did it. And it may not, if you follow everything I did exactly, it may not work for you because you're different. Your brain is different. Your body is different. Your lifestyle is different. Your support system is different. Your physical and mental needs are different than mine. So my big suggestion to you, and again, I'm not qualified to give health advice. My big suggestion for anyone who has weight loss as a goal is to make self-care a goal first. Find out what your body needs to be taken care of. How do you take care of this body that you're in? How do you care for yourself properly? What do you need first? Is it sleep? Is it nourishment? Do you need more nutrients? Do you need more sunshine? Do you need more time outdoors? Do you need more exercise and physical movement? What do you need to take care of your body that is working so hard and doing its best for you every single day? How do you honor that in your life for you? How do you honor your body every single day and bring that to the table every single day? Because if I didn't have that to take care of myself and to love myself and to honor this body every single day, I wouldn't have it. I wouldn't be able to do it. Just to lose weight, just for weight loss itself is not a goal that is sustainable. In my opinion, it just isn't. You need more reasons to do it. Now, what time is it? Are we getting up there? Yes. Before we go, a brief note about how it has affected my life. First of all, one of the reasons I wanted to do this too was for my horses. Back when I started this, one of the catalysts for it was Sonny's injury. My horse Sonny injured one of his leg joints back at Thanksgiving of last year. And he was not rideable. As a matter of fact, we didn't know if he'd ever be rideable again, but he needed 3 months of pasture rest where I could not ride him. And at that point, I was also too heavy to ride Artax, my other horse, because Artax is small. He's only 15 hands tall, and he weighs less than 1,000 pounds. So at the weight I was and the physical condition I was, and I wasn't riding him either. So he was out of shape. I was out of shape. I was heavy, and I did not feel comfortable riding him for longer than 10 minutes. So last Thanksgiving, I suddenly found myself with no horses to ride. I was like, oh my gosh. So that was when I was wanting to run more too. And that was another thing that sort of catalyzed this, oh, great, I've got to take some of this weight, not only off my knees, but off my horses' backs. Literally off their backs. And yes, they are beasts of burden. And yes, they are bred to carry heavy weights. But I wanted to be thinner and not thinner, but lighter and fitter for them. And I have never been stronger in the saddle than I am right now. I've been doing the Couch to 5K app with Artax, and we've only got 2 more workouts in the entire program. I can do a posting trot for 30 minutes. I can trot on my horses for 30 minutes. I never in my life could do that before. Even when I did the Couch to 5K with Sonny, we only got up to where we were doing the 20 to 25 minute trots. And I was like, okay, we're doing it. but like we're trotting for 20 minutes. I am working out on this horse and he has stepped up to it. Artax has gotten in shape. Like when we get done with a workout, he's barely breathing hard. He might be sweating if it's a warm day, but he is barely breathing hard. He's doing well too. He's gotten fitter. I've gotten fitter. My balance in the saddle has improved. My seat in the saddle has improved. I don't get tired. I don't get rubbery legs anymore in the saddle. I used to be so tired. You know, another thing about being at the barn and being an overweight equestrian, I carried a lot of weight in the front in my belly, which actually put a big strain on my back. When I would go to the barn, like I don't sit down at the barn. It's constant activity. You're catching horses, you're grooming horses, you're riding, you're moving around. And all of that standing around and moving around, it was constantly, my belly weight was constantly pulling on my lower back. And I would come home exhausted and in pain, my back hurting. That doesn't happen anymore. I'm not tired when I come home from the barn. I'm ready to do more stuff. I come home and I'm like, I used to have to nap. I used to have to come home from the barn and I had to lay down because my back hurt. I had to take Tylenol, ibuprofen, whatever, because my back was killing me. And I was so exhausted, I had to lay down and take a nap. I don't do that anymore. I come home and I do chores. I come home and I hit the to-do list. I come home. Sometimes there's other things. I'm good for a walk. I'm good for going to run errands. I'm able to do so much more. Going to the barn is no longer physically and mentally exhausting to me. And it was before. As much as I love my horses, there were days I could not go because I could not handle the mental and physical stress of it. And that was just the facts of it. And now I can. I am strong enough. My back doesn't hurt when I come home. And that to me is amazing. And again, this is not to shame myself for being heavier because y'all, I showed up. I might have had to nap when I got home. I might have had to take painkillers when I got home, but I showed up. I did it. I did it. And you can do it too. Oh, Lolly Equines. Hello. Hang on. Lolly. This has been a big old long live stream and we have talked about it. I know you're younger, so the material in this live stream probably is not for you. But we've been talking a lot about self-care and addressing the fact that I've lost a lot of weight in the last year, intentionally, on purpose, and just the way that it's gotten better. And I have had more peace of mind, going back to the horses, I've had more peace of mind knowing that that is 93 pounds off of Sunny's back. My horse Sunny has navicular issues in his front feet, which is if you don't know already, it is a degenerative condition that causes pain when he walks. Now, he has special shoes that he wears to prevent this, but the less weight he carries on his back, the better it is for his feet. And the fact that I have less weight, I'm putting less weight on his back makes me feel better. It's more peace of mind for me. And Artax and I are becoming a little team. Like, he was terrible under saddle a year ago or less than a year ago. I started riding him again in February of this year. That was when my weight got down to a point where I felt comfortable getting on him for more than 10, 15 minutes at a time. And we started out just walking around. But since then, excuse me, as I have gotten lighter and stronger, he has gotten stronger and fitter. And we're starting to work together better and better. I'm going to do an equestrian goals video in January, like my equestrian goals for 2022. And one of them is to deepen this connection that I've been making with Artax. I've been able to get closer to this horse. It sounds weird, but my relationship with Artax has gone to a deeper place, a place of more physical union and mental communication. We're more of a team with each other than just me jumping on his back and riding around for a few minutes. We're starting to really work together, and it feels good. My balance is better. My strength is better. My seat is better. My concentration is better. I have so much more endurance in the saddle. And this has translated into making it easier for him to carry me and making it easier for him to do the workout. So him communicating with me is easier, if that makes sense. And so I am really excited about deepening that relationship in the coming year and figuring out how to get better at being a team with each other. So that I really, really like. So, anyway, I'm about ready to shut this live stream down. I guess so before we go, like, does anyone who's been watching have any specific questions for me? Like, I didn't know if anybody like wanted to know something or, had a question about, I mean, I've sort of gone into real detail and covered just about everything, but if anybody had a question about something specific, like, you can go ahead and ask, because here I am. Yay. And if you have stuck with me for this entire hour, thank you so much for listening to me. I actually have not been talking about this a lot online, and I've sort of kept it all to myself for a lot of reasons. Like, I don't want anyone to feel bad that they're not losing weight too. I don't want anyone to feel like this is something they have to do with their lives to, feel better, or to be better, or to have as a goal. I've just wanted to continue doing me. But there have been so many people that have commented about it, and so many people that have asked me about it. So I thought I would address it in this final live stream of the year, especially at a time when people are going to make resolutions for losing weight. My personal suggestion would be, maybe don't make a weight loss resolution, make a self-care resolution, make a resolution to take care of yourself, to find out what you really need to build the foundation for care of yourself.
You asked about weight training.
Weight training. I've sort of fallen back on things that I've known before. Like, I grew up in a family of athletes. My mother was a personal trainer as well as a swim coach. My sister as well has always been an athlete. My brother-in-law, my sister's husband, is a triathlete. He's done several Ironman races, and he used to be a professional basketball player. So I have had a foundation of learning about all this stuff. So I know a lot about, like, exercise and exercise routines. And I've been learning a little bit more. One of the people I followed for weight training was a guy called Scooby, like Scooby-Doo, Scooby. And he had a basic weight training regimen for building core strength and basic functional strength. And it's pretty much, he does the ab routine he calls a rotisserie, because you do it on a rotation. And you do the Superman, it's all on a mat, and you do the Superman exercise where you're on your belly and you lift up your arms and your legs, and everything is 30 seconds. And then you do a side plank for 30 seconds. And then you do crunches for 30 seconds. And then you do another side plank for 30 seconds. So you've like gone around in 2 minutes, and then you do the whole thing over again. And that really builds your whole core. And then there's a circuit of pull-ups, push-ups, and squats. Now, I can't do a pull-up yet. That's one of my goals for 2022. But I do assisted pull-ups where I use a chair to help me come up and down. And this just builds basic strength. So that's kind of what I've been doing. But I also have dumbbells, and another trainer I follow. What is her last name? Brianna something. Dang it. Maybe I'll message you and show you her channel. But there's some workout channels that I follow. Fitness Blender is another good one. Let me write that here. Fitness Blender. Fitness Blender is a fantastic channel to follow. They have all kinds of workouts on their channel for cardio, for strength, and anything from like 5-minute workouts to full hour workouts that they do on their channel. It's a couple that does it, and they're like super nice. So I do a lot of theirs. And I just got an exercise bike, an indoor stationary exercise bike for Christmas. And so my new thing, I have a whole playlist of bike workouts that I'm going to work through, that I'm going to do. But I really love YouTube for workouts. I have a whole step aerobic playlist. I have my aerobic step, and I have like I have Jane Fonda on there, and I have the Reebok step video from like 1992. I have that, and I do that. There's Denise Austin I have on my playlist, and all the old school 90s step aerobics people are on that list. But I also I have a Taekwondo playlist where I have Taekwondo workouts that I do, but I've just been sort of building these. And you start with one thing. Like if you want to do strength training, look that up on Fitness Blender. Look up like basic beginner strength training and do a search on Fitness Blender and just find some things that you can do on there. It's all actually for exercise. It comes down to what you're going to do. That's the reason I run. That's the reason I practice martial arts. That's the reason I ride horses. It's because these are the things that I love to do. Like you can't stop me from doing them. I'm not going to not go to the barn and do like a ride and not get a workout because I don't feel like it. You have to do something. And I actually love step aerobics. I know that might sound weird to some people, but I think step aerobics is so much fun and it feels so good. And so I don't skip my step aerobics workout. I love doing the stationary bike. I don't skip my stationary bike workouts. I don't not feel like doing that. So you have to find workouts that you're going to love doing, and you're not going to skip, because that is a big barrier to it. If you're like working out because you feel like you need to work out and you have to do this workout, it's going to be really hard to sustain that. So, I mean, that's my big thing. It's imperative not to compare oneself to anyone else. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was one of the things, I hope I made that clear today. Like I did not bring any of this information here today expecting people to follow what I've done and to do the things that I've done. Maybe something that I have done makes you think of something that you can do in your own life and be like, you know what, I could do that if I tweak it just a little bit this way, or, oh, there's no way I could do that, but I could do this. I'm hoping people get something out of this, to know that this was not overnight. This was not easy. And it started long before my weight loss started before my weight loss, if that makes sense from what we've talked about today. My weight loss started at least 6 months before I actually started losing weight. I had to build a foundation of self-care and it's all about building the playlist of workouts. I didn't start with a whole playlist of step aerobics workouts. I started by looking up one Jane Fonda one that I remembered from the 90s. I started by going for one walk. I started by, I need some weights. So I bought you get the 5-pound weights and you do that. And then you buy another set of another pair of weights, one thing at a time. You don't have to buy a whole gym full of equipment. You don't have to buy a whole bunch of stuff. You don't have to get into the whole playlist of workouts. You just have to find one thing, and then find one more thing, and then find one more thing. And eventually you'll look back. It's that journey of 1,000 steps starts with the first step, or a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Take that one step. You don't have to take the whole 1,000 miles right away. You don't have to map out that journey. You just have to take that one step. And then the next day you have to take another step. And the next day you have to take another step. And when you'll eventually turn around and look and be like, holy crap, I have amassed a fitness gym in my living room. I have a whole playlist of things that I can call on now. I have a whole bunch of information to draw on that I've been learning this whole time, one step at a time. I feel like I've been talking for an hour.
Exactly.
Need more of that Diet Dr. Pepper. All right, I do. Thank you so much. It's all so helpful. I hope so. Thank you, Sheila, for being here and for everything. Sheila, for all your support and all of your love for all of the years that we have known each other. I appreciate you so much. And everybody else who is in the chat today, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for being interested in the things that I've gone through in my life. I really appreciate you being here. I am going to, it's like 5:03, and in about 30 minutes, I get to make my salad. I'm super excited about it. Yay. And I get a sugar-free fudgesicle for dessert afterwards. Yes. So I'm very excited about that. So I'm going to go and spend the next 30 minutes obsessing about making my salad. And I hope that everybody who's watching this, whether you watched it live or if you're watching this on the playback, thank you for being here. And I hope you have, this is the last live stream of 2021. So thank you for being here for my live streams, and I will see you in 2022. We'll do some live streams in 2022. How about that? All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.